For our Tools Mastery module, we learned laser cutting and acrylic bending. To introduce ourselves to laser cutting, we first made a finger-jointed box. We began by making and downloading plans for our box on makerspace.com, then pulling them up on Adobe Illustrator to print. When printing, make sure that the stroke width is set to 0.0001 inches. This will display as 0, but it is the correct setting. Be sure to have all vectors selected when doing this. Otherwise, there may be problems, such as your print catching on fire. Don't worry though, if this does happen, the lab TAs will be available to help, and will only give you a few dirty looks. When the print was completed, without catching fire, the 6 sides fit together at the joints to create a single box. As you can see, finger joints are useful for making strong right angles, particularly with rigid materials.
Next, we made a phone stand using acrylic bending. To do this, we started by sketching a few ideas and drawing them on Illustrator. After testing in cardboard, we sent out our print jobs to be cut out. Remember, the settings for the printer are different for woodcut than they are for acrylic, so don't forget to check them. Once the piece is cut out, we can start bending it into shape. To do this, we have to hold the acrylic over the bender until it's hot enough to be pliable, and then just bend it into shape. Be sure to hold it in place until it cools so it doesn't bend back. Also, make sure that you bend the joints in an order so that the next bend can still sit flat on the bender. Otherwise, you may get stuck with a joint that can't reach the bender and thus can't bend into place. After fully bending our design, we had successfully made a phone stand.
We also made another phone stand from wood using living joints. To begin, we downloaded samples of different types of living joint structures. From the lab TA's recommendation, we chose to use the design of parametric kerf number 3, which we'd copied part of to use as part of the design we drew in Illustrator. As always, we started by testing the design in cardboard. Be careful though, since wood is not as pliable, cardboard may not give an accurate sense of the durability of the wood structure. After making sure our design worked on cardboard, we printed it out in wood. Feel free to go over the design more than once to make sure it cuts all the way through. This will be important as easy removal of the design will help ensure that the fragile structure doesn't break. When the design was finished, we bent the shape along the living hinges, soaking it in warm water first to help it bend. Remember, living hinges are rounded, flexible joints. They do not hold their shape as acrylic bent joints do. They also aren't good for making precision joints or angled joints. After bending our final design, we were able to create a phone stand which was freestanding and which works for a phone in both portrait and landscape mode.
Overall, the effectiveness of a material in making a phone stand depends mostly on what your design is and what you want the stand to be able to do. Acrylic stands are better for more rigid designs with sharply angled bends, while wooden stands may be better if you want a design that can be flattened or adjusted. Overall, each tool and material that is used should depend on the design you're trying to make. Between finger joints, acrylic bending, living joint, and more opportunity that the laser cutting offers, the opportunity for phone stand designs are almost limitless.